Welcome to part 3 of the Believe in Yourself workshop. This is the third part of the 3-part series. And what we are trying to accomplish here today is to understand the whole system that I'm presenting on how to believe in yourself. It's a 7-step system to how to handle life's challenges. In particular, let's say, stressful events, stuff of life, anxiety, depression, difficulties in life. How do you look at life from a Torah perspective and able to use Torah thinking, Torah thought, Torah Judaism to be able to handle life? As I mentioned many times, that Judaism is not a religion. It is a system for personal growth. And Torah, everything is in the Torah. Torah is a book not about God, but about us, but God speaking about us, but how we can self-actualize. And therefore there must be in the Torah a system of how we can handle life's challenges and be the best we can be. And the idea is that we need to be woke. Stay woke and ignite your soul. And this is a 7-step system of how to handle life's challenges. So for example, if we have anxiety, and here is a series of anxiety-producing events. We have financial difficulties. We have workplace politics. Anyone ever been in a workplace where someone has passed over you, or there's talking during a work day, or people are involved in politics, who's better, who's getting a promotion, and it's an issue, right? And it gets us down. Right? Financial issues get us down. Self-control, how to handle myself in challenging, stressful situations. Social pressure, peer pressure. Anyone ever experienced peer pressure? When we get married, you have marriage challenges. How to get along with your spouse. How to make it a fulfilling marriage. Raising children. Where do these issues come from? How do we handle these issues? So one of the ways in which we understand these issues is that these issues often come from our childhood. That as we grow up and we face challenges, very often we have what's called unfinished business, or unresolved issues from our childhood, which we carry on into our adulthood, and they are manifesting themselves in our relationships. So if there's sibling rivalry, we don't feel accomplished with a sibling who's a star. We feel less than. So we might also feel less than as a person in the workplace or in marriage. Low self-esteem as a child can carry through into adulthood, and it ends up an issue in marriage. Critical parents. Parents who are demanding or judgmental. They mean well. They want you to do well and succeed and go ahead, but they're never saying you've made it. Right? For example, I'll give you an example. I grew up in a very high-pressured alpha home where my father was a very demanding engineer, very intelligent, and demanded a lot of us. And it made me feel like I was never good enough. And that's why I've developed this system. Believing in yourself means you are good enough. Well, that carried over into my marriage. And after 2 months of marriage, my wife asked me to go to the store and get a list of about 50 items. So I really wanted to do it well as a new husband. So I wanted to get everything right and everything in the right order. And also I decided I was going to get 2 of everything. Why 1 of everything? You know, instead of having to go back a second time, I'll get 2 of everything. Went to the store. It took me 2.5 hours. Usually it would take her 20 minutes. 2.5 hours. Where's this and where's that and how to get that and how to get this and detergent and laundry and. So I came back with 4 bags and I put them on the table and I was proud of myself. I said, "Here, Julie, I did it." She goes to the list. I said, "Bring me the receipt," she said. I said, "I brought her the receipt." She looked at all the items and she said, "Where are the bananas?" I said, "I just spent 2.5 hours finding all these items for you, got everything. And all you can say is, Where are the bananas? You're so critical. She said, I'm not critical. I just wanted to make you a banana cake, and I don't know where the bananas are. So I asked you, where are the bananas? I said, you're so negative and so critical, so judgmental. You could have said, thanks for getting all this stuff, it's fantastic, wonderful, look at all the things you got, and it would have been nice that they didn't have bananas. But you didn't say that, you just said, where are the bananas? So you're critical. She said, no, I'm not critical. You have low self-esteem. I said, I do? So I spoke to my Rebbeim, my teachers, and they said, your wife is right. You have low self-esteem. Where did I get it from? From very demanding parents saying nothing I ever did was good enough. And I heard what she said as, it's not good enough. What I could have said is, I don't know where the bananas are. They didn't have bananas. They were out of bananas. I could have said that. If I had good self-esteem, if I was woke, if I had self-esteem, if I believed in myself, I would have said, I'm sorry, dear, there were no bananas. But what did I say? Why are you so critical? Where's that coming from? It's coming from my childhood. Unfinished business of my childhood. I was not able to feel good about myself in childhood, and therefore I brought that into marriage. And then I learned how to, and my process of developing myself, of developing my believe in yourself status, and trying to work on myself, developing a sense that when she asked me, where are the bananas? I say, didn't have any. So I'm healing myself. But it's my responsibility, not hers. My responsibility to heal myself. And that's why I speak about this in dating, speak about this in marriage, in parenting, of how to believe in yourself and how to have your children believe in themselves. What other issues are there that cause anxiety? Loneliness, growing up. I'm not popular. I'm not the coolest kid on the block. I'm not in the cool group. So I feel lonely. I feel isolated. Abuse. Sometimes people are abused in many different ways, emotionally, physically. Other ways. We're bullied. There's always a kid in school who's bullying us, saying, you're not good enough, or why you're doing that, or get off that's my seat, or get off my chair, or sit in the back of the class. We all experience that, and we fear going to school. It's a sense of fear that sinks into ourselves. Or some of us have learning disabilities, and we don't feel good about ourselves. I have many, many clients in my psychotherapy practice who come to me and say, I don't feel good about myself, and I look at the history, and they say, well, I had ADD, ADHD, I was never good enough, wasn't not making it, so I didn't feel good about myself, I was different. Went to the Learning Resource Center when other kids were in the main class, I felt pushed aside, and therefore we end up in our lives having low self-esteem. And that's what this program is about. So what did we say in part one? We said in order to develop a sense of self, you have to have three parts of the self. And they are the cognitive, the emotional, and the behavioral. Cognitive represents the mind, emotional, the feelings, and the body, the goof. These correspond to the three dimensions of self in the Torah thought, of neshama, soul, ruach, spirit, emotions, and guf, body, or nefesh. Three dimensions of self. When these three are aligned, my mind tells my heart how to behave, and my body then is aligned with my mind, my heart, and my actions, then I am focused. I am on task. I am focused on my goals, and I can accomplish in life. This is the goal. This is called stay woke. You stay woke when your mind, heart, actions, your neshama, your ruach, and your nefesh are all aligned, and then you can connect, focus, and accomplish, and self-actualize. How do we accomplish this in part one? We said that part one is developed through the wheel of strengths. So if those of you who didn't have one or didn't get one, the wheel of strengths is a circle with 6 dimensions of it: intellect, social skills, character, spirituality, family, and personal growth. And it's depicted here on one of our posters, right over here. This is the wheel of strengths. This is an awareness, a conscious, cognitive, soul awareness of what you are. This is the key. Intellectual strengths, social skills, personality, or midos, spiritual strengths, your family background, or how you contribute to family, and your personal growth. That's your mind. Then we said the emotional self. Emotional self aligning with your mind self is that you feel when you go to your beautiful place. Everyone breathe in. Go to your beautiful place, whether it's the Alps, Niagara Falls, a mountain, the orchard, your home, your backyard, the swing in your backyard, where you grew up, somewhere you feel whole, you feel contented, you feel shalem. So when you align that place with this, and you align your mind, your awareness of self, with your emotional self, then you already have the beginnings of alignment, where your mind can tell you, you're okay, you're good. And not only that, but you feel good. How do you feel good? By going to your beautiful place. By going to your beautiful place, which gives you an emotional contentment, a wholesomeness, a serenity, a feeling of inner tranquility, inner peace. And that's how we can align this with this. And we said that there's a correlation between my best personality strength, my midah tova, my midah, my character strength, and my beautiful place. If my midah tova is warmth, giving, nurturing, then I'm probably going to go to a beautiful place which is water, beach, flowing, something with a meadow perhaps, something which means tranquility, or something which flows or gives. So that correlates my mind, my self, and my emotional self are aligned by both going to my beautiful place. So you can get into your soul state, it's called soul state, get into your soul state by being aware of this and this, by going to your beautiful place, against gravity and feeling good about yourself. And then, the body. When stuff happens to us. Negative stuff happens. We feel overwhelmed, depressed. Gravity pulls us down into our body, into our goof, and I feel listless, lethargic, weak, tired, unaccomplished, paralyzed, sad, can't move. Ugh. And therefore, there's a correlation between my emotional self and my body self. So stuff happens, it affects me here, it goes down into my body, and the way to get out of it is by going to your beautiful place, accessing your emotional self, your wholeness, emotional self, correlating that with your mind, with your conscious self, and now you have alignment. You're able to come out of your negativity and come into your emotional self and come into alignment. Now that's the woke state. Stay woke. Now there are attacks. Our second part, part 2, was the attacks on that system. So we said that there are attacks, cognitive attacks. What are they? Our thinking is negative. So have negative thoughts. Here's a big truck, negative thinking. Here are happy thoughts, negative thoughts. And our technique to be able to handle the attack on my cognitive self is let the trucks pass on the highway. Thoughts, like trucks, pass. If you have a negative thought saying, I'm no good, oh, life's horrible, I can't do this. It's only a thought, and thoughts are merely electrical impulses in the brain with a JPEG attached to them. The JPEG is a little memory that we associate with that negative thought. And therefore, the way to handle that is thought highway. Let the thoughts pass. So here are the negative thoughts, and there are some happy thoughts. And if you are aware and conscious that you have a true soul self, then you can do this and let the thoughts pass. And what happens? All you're left with is little happy Volkswagens, right? Little happy thoughts. Until 10 minutes later, this happens. What happens? The thoughts come back. What do? Let them pass, right? So this is called mind control. You have to be aware of how the mind works. Yes?
How do you just let them pass? So let's say I have a negative thought.
Yes. Like?
About myself. Let's say I'm doing, studying for a test.
Yes.
The material is really hard.
You're studying for a test, it's very hard, and?
And I just keep telling myself I can't do this.
I can't do this.
I try to let it pass, and it keeps how do you sort of let the negative thoughts sort of stay out of your brain?
Watch. I can't do this. Oh, I can't do this. I realize that that is a negative thought, right? That's a negative thought, which is really a negative truck, okay? Here's a negative truck. I can't do this. It's on the highway. What do? I start delving into that negative thought. I can't do this. Last time I got a 62 in that exam. Oh, I'm not good at studying. I got ADHD. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I'm not good at studying. I'm going to fail. I don't have a good history of studying well. I'm not a good test taker. So what I do is I get on this truck. So the first thought that comes into your mind is a thought that comes from your history or something that you saw or something that someone just said to you, right? Comes into your mind. You're not responsible for that thought because there are 60,000 thoughts which pass through our mind every day. You're not responsible for that thought. It's not your fault that that thought came into your mind of I can't do this. What you are responsible for is getting on the truck with the second thought and say, yeah, I'm really lousy at tests. Yeah, I'm going to fail. Yeah, this is no good. Because I know as a kid I didn't take tests well. That's your responsibility. So the way to do it is to be aware that you are responsible for your thinking. You have an I self, a soul self, and a mind self. You are bigger than your mind. My I self, my soul self, soul, is bigger than me. There is an I and there is a me. My me says I can't do this. Myself says, which my mind says that. But my I, if I'm aligned with my cognitive self, my emotional self, and my body self, I come out of gravity, and my body said I can't do this. My me self says you can't do this. But I access my I, as in the letter I can do this. My soul self, my I can tell my thoughts, we're not going there. And therefore we're going to let that thought pass, and we're going to arrive at happy thoughts. So the I self is the alignment self. If you realize that you have an I, a total I alignment self, which is the self of
Is it in front?
Where is she?
In
Where's our
front.
girl?
In front.
Here she is. My I self, cognitive, emotional, and body is bigger. This is called stay woke, is bigger than my me, my negative thinking. Then I can say to it, cool it, chill, let thoughts pass. That's how you do it. You achieve that. Question.
And from the first class, you also said that to look at the wheel.
That's right. And then you look at the wheel. Very good, excellent. And then when you do the homework, and I've asked everyone to do the homework by writing down this wheel of strengths, and then filling it in every day and saying January 30th, February 1st, February 2nd, how did I use my intellect today? How did I use my social skills, my character, my spirituality, my family, my personal growth? So if you say to yourself, what is it on this wheel of strengths that I can do to handle it? So what's your name?
Serena.
Eh?
Serena.
Serena. So let's say you say, I can't study well, or I'm not gonna pass this test. And you pick out your wheel of strengths, your awareness, your soul awareness of what you are. What on this wheel of strengths can you say to yourself, I can handle this test? What can you do? How can you answer? How can you have your soul answer your mind? How can you have the I, self, answer the me? Anybody? How can you use the wheel of strengths to answer the fact that I don't do well in tests, I'm not a good test taker, I'm going to fail, I've got ADHD? How can you use this to handle that negative thought? Yes?
Like if you're you look at yourself as a hardworking person, you can say that despite the material being hard, I'm going to keep at it and put in the work, and I will succeed because of my work ethic.
Excellent. So you can say to yourself, I'm going to succeed. I'm a hardworking person. That's my personality, my midos, my character. I'm a hardworking, persevering, hanging in there person. I'm not the most brilliant person, but I'm a persevering person. I can handle this. I'll get a tutor. I'll make a study schedule. I'll to take tests online. I'll go to the Khan Academy. I'll work this online. I'll figure this out, and I'll overcome the negativity. I'm not going to accept negative thinking just because I'm trained from my unfinished business to think negatively. So this is by staying woke, you can do this. So the attacks are the thought highway, and also we have another attack on the mind called, we did it last time, called cognitive distortions. I can't do this. Is that all or nothing thinking? Is that an overgeneralization? What do you mean you can't do this? Is it negative, maximizing negatives? Is it minimizing the positives? Fortune telling. I predict I'm not going to be able to pass this test. Are you a prophet? Labeling. I'm not a good test taker. What do you mean labeling myself? Shoulda, woulda, I should have taken this course last year. Now I'm going to fail. Right? Or blaming myself for being not a good thinker. These are cognitive distortions. So Serena, when your mind says to you, either let the thoughts pass by saying they're not true, right? And say to yourself, one of the techniques of thought stopping or thought stopping is like this. You put up your hand and you say, enough, stop, I'm not going there. If you think negative thoughts, you go, 1 second, we're not going there. You can tell your I can tell your me, I'm not going there. Or you can let the thoughts pass by saying, that's an interesting thought. Not a good test taker. Okay, let it pass. And then go back to your true self, which is, I'm a hard worker, I'm persevering, I can handle this. So you can answer negative thinking. Or, Serena, if you say, I'm going to fail or I'm not going to do well in this test, and we realize that I am not a good test taker or I'm going to fail, is negative thinking, is a distorted thinking, how would you change that thinking into positive thinking? How would you change that distortion? You change the statement you're saying to yourself in your mind by saying, I am not a good test taker, I'm going to fail, to what? How would you change that statement?
To say, I'm going to study the best I can.
I'm going to do the best I can, right? So therefore, instead of getting, I can't do this, getting on the truck, and this is going to be overwhelming me, and it drains me, and spiral down into depression and anxiety, I use the techniques of stop the thinking, mind control, let's not go there. Number 2, thought highway, let the thought pass. Yeah, I could, maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's going to be a hard test, true. 3, I'm not a good test taker. I am going to do the best I can. I'm going to get a tutor. I'm going to ask somebody online. I'm going to figure out questions. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to have a study schedule. I can overcome this. So I'll change the distortions. And 4, figure out what strengths I have to handle that. So our thoughts are no longer controlling us. Rather, our soul is controlling us. And it's in charge as opposed to my thinking. I am in charge of me. I am in charge of the me. That's what staying woke means. Right? Then we have the emotional self. My emotional baggage from my childhood is I was hurt. I was alone. I was not good enough. So we said in part 2, last week, we said we go to our babushka. This is my true self, my adult self. And I find my child self inside me. And I find my child self, whatever age my child self is at. And my child self says, oh, you're not good. Oh man, you'll never get over this. And the noise of my child self is very, very painful. It's still there. But in our system, the attack is that we have to handle the pain of the inner child. So we go to the inner child, as we did last time. Go back in time, and you can do this every single day. Go back to your inner child, give her a hug and say, what would you say to her? What would you say to your inner child who feels sad, lonely, alone, not good enough? What would you say to her? You give her a hug and you go back in time and you're there for her. What would you say to her? Anybody?
I love you.
I love you. Beautiful. I love you. I'm here for you. It's okay. We'll do this together. Then you take her out of her situation, out of her room, out of her being screamed at by your parents, or being yelled at by your brother, or being yelled at by a teacher, or being bullied. Take her out of that place. Take her with you into the present. Take her to your beautiful place. Take her to the beach, the mountain, the hike, the waterfall, which represents your highest self, your kindness, your giving, your true self, your experienced self, your loving self, your giving self, your leadership self, your resilient self, your truthful self, and say, we know who we are. They don't back then when I was 3 and 5 and 8 and 10 and 12. But I do, and I have to heal me. This is you healing yourself. Your I heals yourself. The I and the me join together. This is the me. This is the me. This is the I. The I heals the me. Takes you to the present. Takes you to the Torah approach of who you really are, how God made you valuable. God made you woke with your best midah, your best attribute. That's the true self. That's who you are. God infused himself into you. That's the true value. Parenting wasn't good. Bullying wasn't good in school. Teachers weren't good. Siblings weren't nice to you. That's not true. It happened, and I can't take that away. Those are events that scarred a person. But what you can do is you can heal yourself from them by doing this stay woke approach. Right? And the sixth technique is how to come out of the negativity of the body. And that is that when we have different things which are controlling us, the weather, war, exams, different things that are challenging in ourselves in our lives, other people's words, actions, feelings, or thoughts, these are outside our control. How do we respond? By focusing on what is inside my control. That's my feelings, my words, my actions, and most importantly, my reactions to those things. And therefore, I can react to these things outside my control by focusing on what I have in my control. And I can do this. I can focus on what I can control because this circle is superimposed on this circle. This circle and this circle are one and the same. Because this intellect, social, personality, character, spirituality, family, and growth allows me to realize the I in me has the ability to focus on what I can do. My feelings, my control. I am in charge of me, right? So I am in charge of me. I am in charge of me. And I and me can work together, and I is in control. So the 6 steps so far are, number 1, intellect, the social awareness, the construct of my soul self, which is this, number 1. Number 2 is go to your soul state, which is your beautiful place. That's your emotional self. Number 3 is realizing that I am into gravity and I can come out of gravity. That's the system, right? The stay woke system. Step 1, consciousness. Step 2, emotional equanimity. Step 3, I'm in gravity, I can come out of gravity. That's step 3. Step 4 is the thought highway. That attacks the mind. Step 4 is thought highway. Cognitive distortions. They attack my mind. I can come out of it by saying, let the thoughts pass, repair the distortion. That's 4. Number 5 is the inner child, my emotional self. So it's attack on my emotional self, and I can heal my emotional self. Step 4 was an attack on my mind, and I can heal it by thinking correctly. Step 5 is an attack on my emotions. I can heal it by going to my emotional self. Step 6 is the attack on my body, my actions, and I can solve that with a circle of control, saying, oh, I don't know what to do, I can't do this. Things are outside my control, I get overwhelmed. Not true. Because when you use this, step 6, then you're able to refocus on yourself. So step 1, 2, and 3 is the stay woke. Step 4, 5, and 6 are the attacks on the woke system and how to answer them. And now you can realign yourself. You get back to this state. So 1, 2, and 3 is the soul state. 4, 5, and 6 are the attacks, and you know how to get back now into your wholeness state, your soul state, using this. And now we're ready for step 7. So part 3 today is on step 7. Step 7 is once now we have a sense of self. Now we are aligned. Now the question is, what are you going to do with it? So the Torah tells us what to do. The Torah tells us a very famous line in Devarim. The Torah tells us, Ubacharta b'chaim. Choose life. How do you choose life? There are 2 dimensions of our selves. There are 2 main parts of ourselves. 2 ways of approaching life. There is the love approach. And then there's also a second approach toward life. You can choose to love. You can choose to feel loved. Or there's also the fear approach. These are the 2 main ways of approaching life. Love and fear. Why? Because the 2 main emotions in life are love and fear. Love gives forth all of the positive feelings. What are the positive feelings in love that love give forth to, give birth to? Love gives a person a sense of being whole with themselves so they can be a giver. Love makes you feel happiness. Love makes you compliment other people. Love makes you positive. Love, ahava, and we learn this because there are 2 ways of serving God. Love and fear. You can approach life positively, with energy, getting up in the morning saying, Moda ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechazarte b'nishmasi b'chemla rabba emunasecha. How great is God's faith in me, that I can do great things today because I have a soul state. I can do great things today. He believes in me because He restored my soul to me this morning. Therefore, that's an approach of love. I can approach life with love. I can do this. I have a stay woke attitude, a conscious attitude of I can. That's if I give love, but I can only give love if I feel loved. And the stay woke approach of 7 steps of choosing love, choosing life, by choosing love, is because you like yourself, because you're valuable. Hashem, God, breathed into to you Himself, His value. Therefore, you are intrinsically valuable, and the 2 dimensions of self-esteem are intrinsic value and worth. God breathed into you Himself, His Tzelem Elokim, and He also breathed into you competence, talent, ability. And on our wheel of strengths, our 6-part wheel of strengths, we have certain things which are intrinsic, character, midos, and certain things which are talents, abilities. And these are the 2 dimensions of how you can gain a sense of self-esteem and self-value. I am intrinsically worthy because I have a relationship with God. And therefore that's not a religious idea. That's a value idea. That's not being religious. To believe in God is not being religious. It's understanding the source of me is God, and God put me here for a reason, and therefore I have value just by being. And that's why standing Shemona Esrei is not religious. When you stand and you have the Amidah, you take 3 steps back and 3 steps forward. It's not a religious experience. You're not being religious. You're just connecting to the source. And the source of you is the source of all value. And He breathed value into you. When you stand still, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not accomplishing anything. You're just standing before God and you're saying, Hashem svatai tiftach ufi agit l'secha. May God open my lips. Let my words sing your praises. My words, myself, let me sing your praises. And what do? Baruch. I bring down my soul state. I bring down my beautiful place, which is my mountain. For me, it's Ein Gedi. Ein Gedi is the beautiful waterfall. Have you been? And getting? And to me, it's a creative place with water and with powerful water, and then with trickling water and cliffs and mountains and pools. To me, it's a creative place. And I bring down the creative Baruch. I bring it down into me. I'm humble. That's what Baruch is. Baruch. It's not religious. To stand before the creator of the universe every morning and go, Baruch, I am humble before the creator, the source of my life. Humble, that's not religious. That's just understanding who I am. Ata, thank you for giving me my creativity, or my kindness, or my leadership, or my truthfulness, or my resilience, or my giving nature, or my consistency, my perseverance. I bring it down, Baruch. Ata, thank you. Humility. Baruch. Thank you. Modeh. Saying thank you. And Hashem, allow me to serve you with my creativity today, with my kindness today. That's what this is. This is not religious. This is connecting with your source, with God. That's personal growth. That's making me the best I am. Every single day, 3 times a day. And women are supposed to daven twice a day, Shachris and Mincha, right? Take a few minutes. But I love going to daven. It's not like a chore to me. Because I get to connect with my source every morning and every afternoon and every evening. And I bring down my value, and I thank God for being here. I ask Hashem to give me strength to serve Him today with my strength, with my abilities. That's not a religious experience. That's a spiritual connection with my source. And then I can live with love. However, there is another dimension of life, and that is the dimension of fear. We can choose love, or we can choose fear. And if we grow up with negativity, and criticism, and abuse, and ADHD, and learning disabilities, and sibling rivalry, and critical parents, and challenges in life, and these are unresolved issues from our childhood, unfinished business, so we're going to live in fear. And our subconscious self, our child self, then lives in fear. That waiting, what's that feeling? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. When are things going to blow up in my face? When am I going to fail? When am I going to get dumped? When am I going to fail out of school? When am I going to be told by my girlfriend that, 2 girls, my girlfriend, that I'm no longer going to be your friend anymore? When are my parents going to tell me, you're on your own, kid? Right? When is a negative thing going to happen? When am I going to lose this job? That comes from growing up with negativity. Growing up with challenges in life that are unresolved. So I live with fear. And if I live with fear, then I become a taker, self-absorbed. I'm depressed. I get angry. And I'm negative. But it's either choosing life, choosing love, or choosing fear. Which one do I want to choose? If I am not woke, and I live by my unfinished business, then I'm going to not choose fear. I'm just going to be naturally fearful. I'm going to approach life with trepidation. I'm not going to take risks. I'm not going to try new things. I won't come to Jerusalem and to Neve Yerushalayim and try something new. I'm too afraid. What will that happen? What will happen? I don't know what's going to happen. Who will I meet? Who will I go? I don't know. I can't do this. That's fear. Living in fear, trepidation. That's called yira. The Hebrew word is yira. There is fear of God, and then there is love of God. You can serve God with fear. You can serve God with fear. I don't want to be struck down by lightning. Or you can serve God with ahava, with love. I'm looking forward to today. Right? We need both of them. We need both of them. Fear represents all the negative commandments. I will not violate the commandments because that disconnects me from God. Doing the commandments, again, is not religious. When I do the commandments, I perform the commandments, I am in alignment with God, with His will, connection. When I don't do the commandments, when I break the commandments, I am this way. There's no thunderbolts and lightning. God doesn't strike me down when I don't do something right. It's just that I disconnect from Him. If I want to connect with God, the word mitzvah means tzavta. Tzavta means connection. When I do God's will, when I keep Shabbos, and God rested on the 7th day, and therefore I also emulate God by resting my creativity, by plugging into the source. That's what Shabbos is. Shabbos is I plug into the source of creativity. I don't stop physical work on Shabbos. I can move this table up and down the stairs 20 times on Shabbos. That's allowed. I can't turn on a light switch. Why? Why? That's not work. What it is malacha, which means creative work. So when God stopped creating electromagnetic forces, gravity, photosynthesis, conservation of energy, right? Evaporation systems, nitrate systems, molecule systems, atomic systems, he stopped putting those in the world on Shabbos. So therefore I too, in my way, in my little world, there are 39 things I can't do to show mastery over the world. When I do that, I'm connecting with God. That's called mitzvah, tzavta, connection with God. I'm aligned with God's mind. When I follow the Torah, learn the Torah, I'm learning God's mind, tzavta. When I do an avera, I am disconnecting from God's mind. So the blessings don't flow. It's not like I get punished. Rather, the blessings don't flow. He wants to invest in me. If I'm connected with Him. Tzavta, tzevet, mitzvah, connection. But when I'm disconnected, the blessings don't flow. It doesn't mean I get struck down by lightning. Thunderbolts and lightning. Fire and brimstone. You believe, I believe. You praise the Lord, I believe. And you sinners, you're going to believe. If you don't believe that, we don't believe in that. We don't do that. We don't throw down sulfur from heaven and fire and brimstone and make people fearful of life. So we don't do the we don't do the negative commandments because we don't want to disconnect from God. But a higher level is to choose life, to choose love. I want to connect. I want to keep Shabbos. I want to connect with God. I want to pray, not because I'm afraid God's going to strike me down if I miss a prayer or make a bracha wrong. I want to connect with God. I want to say, thank you for this apple. Thank you for this pita. Thank you for this pizza. I want to connect with God. I'm living with love. When you are in a aligned state, you can feel and live with love. When you are not, you're living in fear. So here is the idea. Bacharta b'chai means choose life. Choose love. Choosing life means choose to live with love. How? What is the source of fear? And the key is anger. Where's our little poster over here? Anger. You can choose love or choose fear. If someone's angry, if you get angry, your anger is coming from fear. Inside, you're coming from fear. Why? For example, if I say, come to the appointment at my office at 10 a.m. and you come at 3 o'clock. And I say, hi, I'm here for my appointment. 3 o'clock. I said, didn't we say 10 o'clock? Yeah, but I was busy, so I came at 3. I'm angry at you, Joe. What do you mean coming at 3 o'clock? Don't you... Now, why am I angry? My anger at Joe coming at 3 o'clock instead of 10 a.m., my anger is coming from my living in fear. What do I fear?
Things not going your way.
Sorry?
Things not going your way.
I fear things are not going my way. And what do I fear about Joe? Joe is treating me like what?
Like you don't matter.
Like I don't matter. My fear is I don't matter. I'm just not good enough for Joe to come at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's what fear is. Living in fear means, the source of living in fear is I'm just not good enough for people to come on time, to value me. That's what fear is. Love is, I am valuable. If I felt good about myself, if I was in stay woke state and feeling I have my mind, my consciousness, my creativity, my emotional state, my anti-gravity state, I'm feeling good about myself, and Joe comes at 3 o'clock, I go, oh, sorry, Joe, are you okay? Joe, I'm sorry. We had an appointment at 10 o'clock, it's now 3 o'clock. Did you have a flat tire or something? Did you have to go to the hospital? Are you sick? Are you okay? No. Listen, I can't see you now, Joe, because I've got other clients at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I've got other appointments to go to. But maybe we can see each other, tomorrow or the next day. Right? I'd be able to answer with love, because I love myself. But if I allow Joe's actions to trigger me, then I'm living in fear because I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel valued. And therefore, that's my unfinished business from my childhood. And I get angry at Joe. Joe, why are you coming at... Why? Because I fear that Joe doesn't value me. But that's just a trigger to my own inner lack of value. I don't value myself. So the idea of stay woke is I value me. And I'm not going to give other people power over my emotional self. My roommate hurts my feelings. I go, you treat me purely, you tell me terribly, you talk me not nicely, you mistreat me, I'm not affected by what my roommate says or my wife says. You forgot the bananas. When I lived in fear and I didn't have value in myself because I had low self-esteem because of my unfinished business, my wife said, where are the bananas? I said, you're critical. Why are you putting me down? She said, I'm not putting you down. But now I would say, oh, I didn't have bananas, dear. Maybe next time. Because I feel good about myself now. I'm not going to let my low self-esteem turn into an argument with my wife. That's why I wrote a book on this topic called Like Yourself and Stay Married. If you like yourself, if you have the 7 steps of stay woke, then you don't get into arguments, negativity with your wife or your husband because you feel good about yourself. So this applies to marriage as well. Like yourself and stay married. So when you can choose love or fear, so when I say to Joe, let's meet tomorrow, I'm reacting with love. I love myself. Now, this is a matter of, and here's the key, the Torah tells us, choose between love and fear. Ubacharta b'chaim, choose life. This is choosing negativity. Choosing to give into the way I grew up. And my teacher and mentor, Rabbi Tursky, Abraham Tursky, the psychiatrist, says, if we grew up in a negative way, then we are formed and shaped by our parents and by our upbringing. We can say the following: I am who my parents made me. But if I stay that way, it's my own darn fault. That's what this 3-part series on believing yourself is about. We cannot allow our upbringing and our subconscious mind, our child self, to dictate the rest of our lives. We have to choose life. God says it's an imperative. It's a moral imperative to choose life. How? By choosing your value. Who gave you that value? God gave you that value. You can choose life. That's why being a Torah observant Jew doesn't make you religious. It makes you a person who chooses life. And in connection with God, that's the system where you can self-actualize. And Hashem designed that system because He wrote in the Torah how to understand ourselves. The book is a manual for self-actualization. I bought my wife a microwave oven for Hanukkah, and she was looking through the manual. I said, "You're a smart girl, Julie. Why don't you just press the buttons and figure it out by yourself? You don't have to read all those, 224 pages of this Hitachi manual. You can figure it out by yourself." She said, "The manufacturer made this thing. He knows how it works, the intricate value methods of how this thing works. I'm going to defer to his expertise. Instead of trying to trial by error and try to figure it out by myself, I'm going to defer to his expertise and read the manual and save myself time. It looks like it's expensive and it's going to take a lot of time to run through this manual, but if I just go through the quick steps and follow the manual, I'll be able to use this machine properly and easily and efficiently." I said, "You know what? That's a good idea. Can I use that in my lectures?" She said, "Yeah, for a fee." I said, "Okay. We've been given a manual. It's called the Torah. And the Torah, Hashem gave us a way in which we can self-actualize. All we have to do is study it. But when we study the Torah, you're studying yourself. Abraham's chesed, and Sarah's chesed, and Yitzchak's gvura, and Yaakov's search for emes, and Moshe's strength, standing up against adversity, and Aaron's kindness, and Yosef's self-control, and King David's coming out of depression. It's all about ourselves. Who in the Torah do you emulate? Who do you relate to? Which of the imahos do you relate to? In my book, Alone Against the World, I wrote a section on women in Tanakh. And pick up that book called Alone Against the World. It's in here in the library. The Torah Antidote to Loneliness. And there is a section on women in the Tanakh. And which woman do you connect with? Do you relate to emotionally? And each of the women in the Tanakh were alone against the world. Ruth was alone in Moab. She became the great-grandmother of King David. And Queen Esther was in the palace, alone, away from her husband Mordechai, with King Ahasuerus. And Sarah was alone in the tent. And Rivka was alone. arguing with Yitzchak all her life about who should take over. And Rachel was left alone when Leah got married. All of our imaos were alone. Hannah was alone because she didn't have children. Everyone was alone. Which one do you relate to? The whole purpose of the Tanakh and the Torah is there for us to be able to relate to it, to connect with it, to learn from it, to grow from it, role models. So choose life. Now what about choosing life on a practical, everyday level? So let's take a look at 2 more examples of how we can choose life. We have sub-personalities. This is us. This is us. And any given day, you are a daughter. I'm a son. I'm a brother. You're a sister. God willing, you'll be a mother. I'm a father. You're a friend. You're an employer, an employee, a coworker. You have many, many dimensions and relationships that you go through every single day. In fact, you're all of these things right now. But right now, which one are you choosing? Over here, only one can go in here. Only one relationship can go in at a time. You have all these layers of dimensions. As a sister, a daughter, a friend, a coworker, a student. But which one goes in right over here? Which one are you slotting into your mind right now? Sitting here in Neve Yerushalayim, participating in this Believe in Yourself workshop. Which one goes here? Are you acting like a sister to me? Are you acting like a daughter to me? A friend, a coworker? Which one goes in here? What do you say?
Student.
Student. So in here goes student. You also happen to be a sister, a daughter, a friend, an employer, an employee, co-worker, artist, writer, dancer. You're all these things. But right now you're choosing to be students. That's your choice. So too with our emotional selves. On any given day, we can be happy, sad, anxious, depressed, frustrated, motivated. I could walk in to my roommate's room, or to the room, or to class, or wake up on a bad day and go, I'm not feeling good today. Which one would you be choosing? You'd be choosing one of these. Which one would you be choosing to be negative? Choose life. You can choose fear or choose love. So you'd be choosing which one? Sad, anxious, depressed, frustrated. Just like on this side, you're choosing a student. I want to empower you. I want to empower you. You could choose a different one. Choose life means choose your mood. You can decide, I am going to choose motivated right now. I'm going to set aside my negativity. Yes, things happen to me in my childhood, or things happen to me on my way to school, or on my way to work, but I'm a professional person. I'm a woke person. I'm woke. I am going to breathe in, align myself with my mind, my consciousness, my soul, my emotional self, my body, and I'm going to choose life because I want to interact with people from a happy and motivated self. I could choose sad, I could give into it, but why do I give away my free will? Who here believes in free will? Free will. So free will means I have a free will to do whatever I want in my life, including my emotions. So if I get angry at somebody else, what I'm doing is I'm giving away my free will to that person. I'm giving away my free will over my emotions to my roommate, and I'm getting mad at her by allowing her comment, or my wife's comment, or my husband's comment, when you get married, God willing, to affect me, and I'm giving away my free will by being angry at him or her. So why am I doing that? If I believe in free will, why am I giving away my free will to be master of my emotions? In order to be master of your emotions, you have to be woke. You have to stay woke. And in this book, Stay Woke and Ignite Your Soul, on Amazon.com, are the 7 steps I've just gone through in this 3-part series called Believe in Yourself, with case stories from my practice of how to overcome these challenges. Plus a research study that I did on using this system causes a reduction between 3% and 75% of anxiety. Using this system. I did a research study, and I found that using this system of 7 steps, by choosing life, by choosing woke, causes a person to overcome and to reduce their anxiety. Lastly, let me share with you one more example, one more technique of how we can stay woke. In life, as you go through life and you have this system that's now you're woke, sometimes there are challenges in life, and we have on a daily basis, we have to cope with the battle between, on this side of my shoulder, this is my, let's say like this. Here's my little child self, and here is my adult self. Here is my negative self, and here is my positive self. Here is my fear self, and here is my love self. Here is my Yetzer Hara, and here is my Yetzer HaTov. I'm in the middle. My Yetzer Hara, and my Yetzer HaTov. My old self and my positive self. My woke self. My child self who's hurt, and my positive self who's now working on myself to become positive. These are 2 dimensions of self, and I'm in the middle, and I have to choose. B'charta b'chaim, choose life. Which one will I choose? Well, let's depict this battle. And it goes like this. Can I borrow a chair? Second chair. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, if I am here, and this is my woke self. This is my woke self. This is my love self. This is my stay woke self that believes in myself. We have the mind.